Hey, what's going on, good people? I'm Michael Chapman, your student home advisor, and this is Astute Living. Today, I want to talk to you about something very, very critical in the home buying and the home selling process. Now, what is that, you ask? Well, I'm talking about the appraisal before the appraisal, right? And many of you guys don't know that there's a such thing as an appraisal before the appraisal. Yeah, there is a such thing. And it's really, really simple, right? But most agents and most buyers don't know anything about it. That tends to be skipped over because people get so excited about the process of looking at homes and making an offer that they forget about this very, very important step. And that step is the CMA, right? It's real simple, but it's so easy for people to look over it because it's not sexy, right? It doesn't get the needle moving. But I'm going to talk to you about it today. And the reason I'm bringing it to you is because I just dealt with two appraisals this week, right? Two appraisals this week. One of them fell really short, and the other one actually appraised over contract value, right? So one is undervalued, and the other one, man, he's walking in the door with instant equity. And that's what we want, right? But the deal is, I actually helped this client over here fix their problem, right? They had a problem where the value came in under the contract price. So I had to fix that. But the cool thing about it is I did the appraisal before the appraisal. No, I didn't use any special mortgage products. I just simply used a CMA, right? So when I write offers for my clients, what we tell them to do is pick the home they want, tell me the price that they think they want to offer on the home based off of what they're looking for, the features they have, and what their pre-approval is, right? And then I go back in and I run a CMA to see if that even makes sense, right? Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to be sitting at the office writing up all these offers knowing that they ain't gonna get accepted. No, my job is to make sure that we're making offers that get accepted that are going to be appraised for the appraised value. So let me tell you, the first one, it fell short, right? Because the appraiser didn't look. He just simply looked at the sales price on the contract and the price that it was for sale for and came up with a number, right? They looked at whatever comps he wanted to pull and he chose a number. But I had already prepared for the event that the appraiser may fall short because my goal is for my clients to always have equity when they move into the home. The goal is to get the home for less than what it's valued for as a buyer's agent, of course. Now, for a seller, we don't want to leave any money on the table. But let me tell you how it goes, right? When you look for a CMA, when you're ready to write an offer, say you find a house, you buyer, you found a house, and now it's time for us to write an offer. What I do as your agent, and what I want the other agents to do, if you guys are working with the agent, make sure you ask for this. Go in and run comps. Comps are comparable properties that's already on the market and it's recently sold from the last 6 months to 12 months. Typically, in a busy market, all you need is 6 months. Sometimes you can even use 90 days, but we typically use 6 months. And we go all the way out to a mile out only if there's no comparables. But in this case, we went a quarter mile out because it's a new subdivision, fairly new homes. Homes are being built within the last 7 years. So there's plenty of comps to go from, comparables. So we looked at homes that were sold in the last 180 days. They had the same amount of bedrooms, the same amount of bathrooms, very close square footage, give or take 200 square feet, smaller, 200 square foot larger, and also whether it had a pool, no pool, 2 stories, single story. And we put all those details in, and it gives us a number. The number typically says, hey, this house right here in ABC subdivision will sell for this dollar amount based off of the parameters that you put in. So when we show this to our clients, I say, hey, look, I've run the comps, I've looked at what you're looking for and what you want to offer. And it falls right in line with what the market is saying, because the market says a home with these bathrooms, these bedrooms, this square footage will sell for about this much within these many days. Now, what's so great about doing that is when you present that offer to the listing agent, you can present that offer with these details. Say, for instance, if the home is overpriced, like the house that we dealt with, it was a little overpriced to us, right? Which we came back to find out that it was priced overpriced, but not very far from where we had it. So we went in and we presented the offer, and we asked them for less money and for concessions. Because based off of what the market was doing, the buyers were buying homes in this community for this certain amount, which is about 360,000 to 350 to 360. And this one was listed for 370. So we came in at 350 initially, and we got it. But after talking with my clients and realizing that they didn't want to have to bring so much cash to the closing table, we went back in and we renegotiated and got them at 360 and $10,000 in closing costs. That's for another conversation. We'll talk about that later. But the deal is, it came back and it didn't appraise. The appraiser came back and appraised the home for 355, which is $5,000 under what the contract price was. So because I had already did my analysis and run my comps, I simply submitted all the documentation to the appraiser and the lender and said, hey, appraiser, this home is actually valued at this much. My client simply got a deal. I negotiated this deal for my client. But what we want you to do is we want you to honor the contract price, because the homes that are selling within the last 90 to 100 days in this same subdivision, same size, same floor plan, same everything for the most part, will sell for this amount. The appraiser came back and said, no, he didn't like it. He wants more information. I said, okay. Well, I called around to the local listings that are already under contract, that have already had, excuse me, sorry about this, guys, that have already had the contracts negotiated, and the appraisers came out and figured out what their house appraised for. And sure enough, it was in line with what I was getting the appraisal for. So, needless to say, the appraiser came back and said, hey, you know what, Michael? You're a fantastic agent. Thank you so much for sending me this information. I'll go ahead and make that make value, right? So that was simple. But let's talk about the one that was already overvalued, right? We came in at a lower sales price with some concessions again. Again, I'm not going to talk to you about that. I'll share that with you on another day. But I did the same thing. I said, hey, Mr. Buyer, I know you want to buy this house, and I know that you want to get a deal. So this is what we're going to do. We run the comps, say, hey, this is a 3-bedroom, 2,500 square feet, 2 baths, brand new home. It's only 3 years old. So the sellers don't have much equity, but they have enough for you to get this house at this price, because homes are selling pretty quickly, especially the newer ones in this community. So I run the numbers and we presented an offer. The offer was actually under what the list price was initially. And then we said, you know what? No, we don't want to do that, because we want them to give us money. So we increased the sales price over what the seller was asking in order to get some concessions. And then we presented the offer to our client to make sure that it fell within their needs. Now, the lender called out the appraiser. Before the appraiser got there, what I did is I presented the appraiser with the comps and my numbers ahead of time. So when he showed up to the property, these numbers were already presented to him, laid out in order. So when he came in to do his job, he already had a book of reference to make sure that he can analyze the property apples to apples, not apples to oranges. And that's how you get the appraisal done before the appraiser comes in. So in the event that they don't know exactly why you positioned your client in this position, or you, the client, why you're getting the sales price that you're getting, then they'll know It's real simple. We did the appraisal before the appraisal, and it's not called an appraisal. It's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. So if you're in the market and you've gone under contract and the house did not make appraisal, make sure that you go back and do your own comparative market analysis or have your agent do that so you can make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. Even if you need to go up in sales price or go down in sales price, it can work either way. It just depends on what strategy you need for the purchase that you're doing on this day. I'm Michael Chapman, your student home advisor, and I'm talking to you about the appraisal process, the CMA process, and how to make sure you and your buyer get the best deal possible. If you have any questions about working with us here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and our market, what it looks like, or you have a home that you potentially want to sell and you want to make sure that you're pricing it right, simply message me at 469-258-6651, or you can call me because I don't really like missing phone calls. As you know, I just had one not too long ago. So I'm going to get off here, take this phone call, and I'll catch you on the other side.